Okay, so for this week, because last week I kind of just had a general overview of the number of symbols. I didn't really go symbol by symbol because sometimes it's nice to just, especially because we're tracking it on a basis. I want to make sure I look at every one, especially there's only 8 names that fit this criteria.
So I want to confirm it's minimum 200% gap and 300 pre-market volume, and that's it.
No, just 200. Just minimum 200, not even the 300. Yeah, not even 300. Just 200%. That's it, or more. So it could be 500.
Okay.
So based on that, I pulled up these and I just kind of went through them just to see if I could find any sort of like similarities. Just watching it, VLCN I know was NanoFloat. It looked like it was gonna go down in pre-market, but it trapped here. So I guess this one honestly wouldn't have worked because it closed at like $5. 200%. So if you were short in pre-market, and you were holding this 9 a.m. $60 would have. So I gotta take that into account. Like it's not like the odds are in your favor. I'm not really interested in pre-market trades all the time, but it's just here. You can so this is up 200%. That's because it closed at 160. So it ran up the day prior. So yeah, see, it gave a good fade here. I mean, now that I'm looking at it again, it doesn't exactly look like a. What do you guys think?
I've personally always find it. One thing I realized chilling with other people, I'm a lot more risk averse. I think that one stop that is not only a red trade. If you didn't get filled, and let's say your stop was risking the high the day prior, you would be down like
more
10
than that. I think.
Yeah, 20 to 60 R. That's nasty. And there will be for sure times that it will skip your stop order no matter what. So I mean, how do you offset that? I guess you suppose you could have 100% stop, which doesn't make a lot of sense because I mean it could make sense like if your accuracy, because stock will never go to zero. For it to go to zero, then you would have. But that stock also I think stopped. I don't know, bigger data points that it is. I think there's a lot more pre-market volume people trading, including Ross, including other algo people. There's a lot of pre-market.
Yeah, I'm not sure how relevant it is, but I heard that EE guy 6 million, and I mean, if I'm hearing about things like this, and he has orders in the limits, like he has his orders in the book already. I've seen him post a few images, and you can see like the limit orders and the buys and the something very something that like a strategy that involves adding into. So I think maybe they're trying to get his orders or traders like him that are doing similar, that are like already in there.
Yeah, I think I know also algo guys have started trading pre-market based on these stats. And then Ross, I think, is a strong too, believe it's low.
But Aslan, did you find a common criteria?
What I prefer myself is I'll look at the daily chart to see if I like a particular level, but I would like to prefer using this, spotting them early and just getting my borrow for cheap. I think that's like something I kind of really want to, because I find when I locate something and I pay a lot for it, I'm just not thinking. So like VLCN, for example, I paid 5 cents for that. After I checked, I think I would have been more, I think I would have traded differently just based on my personality. I might have tried more and forced it more if I paid more for that borrow. So I just try to kind of get it and I wait for these types. Like I was long VLCN, believe it or not.
Before
but I only
the news
had,
came out?
I didn't see any news come out. At 9 a.m., this candle here, was it on news? It just kind of happened, didn't it?
I think it had news, no.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
It had some...
Interesting. Yeah, I was long for it. I didn't know it had news.
See, that's why
the second I longed it.
Well, that's why we need news. Another thing, that's a very good question. I think what you could do, Arsenal, go to gap analysis, and gap analysis will give you average price action. That would really help.
My bad. I have Flash open on another computer that I'm using for this conversation. It's the only one with the camera. It doesn't have a mouse. So you said gap analysis. That's on Flash, right?
You go to gap analysis, put those variables, and you should use a bigger data point. But the thing is,
okay,
it will give you the average price action because Martin has a really good. How do we scale it? And you brought a very cool point. You're like, yo, you just lose locates. And also, as we are building and we're traders, don't be too worried about the locate fees. Just keep it within bounds of 20% of your daily max loss, which is more than sufficient.
I just ran it over a bigger. Sorry to interrupt.
One more question. This gap value, that 341%, is this the maximum high from the previous close? Or what?
Sorry, you're talking about the.
Yeah, on this picture, yeah.
I think this is based on.
The gap value is this the maximum high in pre-market from previous gap value, and then the high spike is this intraday 4 hours.
So the pre-market high gap is the gap the pre-market high and the previous day's close.
The high point from previous day's close, basically.
So the highest point in pre-market, the maximum from the previous day close. So VLCN is this? I thought it had more than.
No, but here, let me show you. This is the criteria.
The minimum is 300.
Yeah, no, the minimum is 200, and it could be more.
Yeah, but
300 is not part of it.
Here it says VLCN 341% high gap value.
Yeah, this was me just being like, I was just testing different.
So I was wondering what is this value?
I don't know what you're looking at. Show us what you're looking at. Yeah. Maybe he's looking at go to VLCN stats.
Yeah, to this
Arsenal?
overview. You had this picture with the overview. Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Yeah, so the gap value, I think that's the price at open.
Ah.
It might be the price at open.
Okay, yeah.
It is price at the open. Open price versus yesterday's close.
VLCN opened at $40, closed at, yeah, okay, this could be.
So I'll look at these stats in a bigger window, like you're saying. Like I put it in flash here March 1st, and the average close went to 7. So it seems like it's something.
Okay, did
Say
you
that
find
again,
any?
please. Say that again.
Oh, I'm gonna go to the criteria for the.
No, what you just said, something with 73%.
I just switched the filters to March 1st, 2025 to go back. And I got number of gaps 126 with the average close price of average close red of 7. My bad. I'm like in multiple computers. So I guess you could kind of look here. Average high of the daytime 10. Oh wow. Okay.
Step would then be now to find out some commonalities, common patterns we could then use as a systematic entry.
You were
I
using.
find a lot of them.
Go to the setting
Sorry, go
again. You said pre-market volume, and what's the other one?
It's just pre-market. Honestly, you don't even do pre-market. I mean, you can. But I don't think it's necessary. I think the only one that's necessary is the pre-market high gap. That's what I personally think.
Yeah, I mean, we're exploring it. So right now I'm doing gap analysis. Did you do that?
Gap
did you
analysis?
Did you go to gap analysis? Put that variable in there.
Isn't gap analysis that thing I just shared? Yeah. So it's. Do you want it from March or do you want it the shorter?
Whatever you prefer,
The
bro.
shorter one.
You're teaching us, so
Oh, okay.
show us some black
Average?
magic. Show us some ways how we can make money. Yalla, come on. How do we print money?
So from July 1st, this month, the high of the daytime is relatively the same. 10:38. My bad. I can't use flash on this. Let me just keep. So this is just July. We're getting very everything seems pretty.
What I would find out is 200 in pre-market is if there is a good entry point in pre-market already, because some of them they have pretty big fades already.
They do. Because new stocks come up with new PRs and stuff. So new stocks start running and then the flow flows into all the but it's just hard to determine for sure which ones are going to do that, right? Because sometimes the stock wakes up at 7 a.m. Like one from very rarely, but it does happen.
I think Abel is also going this road now. Thematic strategies now that he's doing well.
That's what I noticed too.
And when you do this back testing, like what he did a lot of work the past few months back testing and to figure out to develop some of them. They have their entry already in pre-market, and that's why I was asking deeper into that yet. But this would be something I would also like to maybe do a deep dive into these pre-market runners. As you said, there is so much pre-market action currently. Tickers they have. They run up and they fade all the way back to the open, and maybe then to do another run after the open. But alone the fade from pre-market high pretty big and worth it. Maybe there are some commonalities for an entry that we could use.
Let's do actionable steps though. Let's take some guesses, and because we're not super dumb, so rather than doing this alone, let's try to figure it out together. Like, what actionable steps can we do? I can start. So when I changed, first you could go average and you could do median on Flash Research when you go gap analysis. When you put gap analysis, it's going to take all of the gappers of 200% and higher. It will give you the average high of the daytime. It will give you all of these variables. When you do lower volume, keeping things very simple and stupid, things spike when there's low volume and it gets higher. Once things has a lot of volume, it needs bigger volume to continue. So you can get a day and night difference when you have a pre-market volume of 300K and when you have a pre-market volume of 2 mil or higher.
Oh.
So when you put, and I just use that because I'm just like, I have this thing where I just bullshit some stuff out there. Bullshit, like just spit things out, and then I put it into the data. I put it into Flash Research, and then I'm like, okay, and I take a look at the stats and variables, what changes. Long story short, when I put 2 mil, and I went to median price, don't go average, because average gives you skewed data. What I found is the average high of the daytime is around, so that gave me a really good entry to what Martin was saying.
Oh,
so
really?
So when the average high of the daytime is at 7 a.m., and then also the stock is trading 2 million, then now you all of a sudden you have a bit of resistance that has been created, and you have stock that has been extended. So when it goes back up higher, people that have bought it are gonna be like, yo. So basically we need a backside, like the one where Ben enters, where something goes up, has a big wash, and then you could short your entry. That's number one that I'm thinking of. Do you guys have any other ideas? Do you guys have anything? Do you any poke holes in the idea or make it better?
I'm trying to pull this up, what you're lking at. So you went, all you did was add 2 million minimum pre-market volume?
Yeah, what we could do is both of us can stream share, so all of us
Okay.
can watch both.
Here, I'll just get off mine because
No,
I'm
stay.
using Flash on other
Bro,
computers.
just you can stay. You can still stay. So maybe I just did 2025. One thing I'm not good at is midday runners, pre-market stuff. But so I did pre-market volume. When I do 400, you can see the average high of the day time is 940 on a median, 2 million. And this could be a bit of hindsight because this 2 million, maybe I just bullshitted. I could have sworn I saw something. It was 4 to 7 a.m. Market volume, what happened?
I think this high of daytime is this.
Oh, right here. Oh, yeah, right here. This is what it was, yeah. So this is the pre-market high time. So 7:32. So this and this. So I actually.
How come
have-
mine doesn't say pre-market high time?
It's because only cool people have it. Cool people have the stats. So we reduced yours. No, I'm kidding. You gotta click on gap data.
Oops.
Average and median.
Oh my goodness.
The other cool thing that I have is I have this pre-market high. So basically, when the stock fades off the open and it has a high volume, it doesn't have a tendency of pushing. As you can see, it has a very nice fade. What else can we distract from here? What else? Throw some ideas out there. No, don't worry about it being correct.
I mean, to find the ideal entry for a systematic criteria, all the charts beginning of the year manually. And,
So, bro, we always do what we have. Like, if we're not coders, we're not developers, I'm not trying to plug, but this is Flash Research, right? You're seeing my screen, right? So you could click Show Pre-Market Data, and it will show you the average price action. And you click here, and you go through the every single entry. Stock with the biggest range. Let's start with.
the ones who are start running, they usually hold, not all, but most of them, they hold up until.
So here's an idea. What if we were to set up where we don't short after 8 a.m.? So at 7 a.m., I think retail and
Yeah, it's like
so,
a checkpoint.
So let's do a play where we are hypothetically shorting. I haven't done this. So, well, let me just continue. Okay, what else? What other thoughts we have?
Overall, Gappers ridiculous. You're getting SONN hit $30. I don't know how it did that. I just can't believe something would go and it has like a 10.
I'm just
Yeah,
guessing.
that's a good
Well,
point.
you could
No,
go.
it's a good point.
So what we could do is just you could go to backtest and test it. It could be like, well, use this as a low VWAP. Stock has pushed about 200%, 250%. So you could look at average gap here. Average high gap is 263, the median point. So you could be the stock must have 200 to below VWAP, or find another say if a candle has closed previous candles low. That's your entry. Yes, you could use the high as the variable, but tricky, or you could use 60% stop. 60% stop reduces your black swan event. So if you're wrong, you will lose 2R, 3R. Like you have to be present in your. If you were to use high today, there would be all of your gains will go. In Flash and in other variables, it's tough to account for the skips.
No, it's impossible.
Okay, what other ideas do we have? How else do we have actionable steps?
I do look at that Lucian. Try and narrow down. It is hit or miss.
We might be getting something like that. We'll have historical
Oh
float
wow,
and
my
historical.
focus. I'm trying to trade less. I find what I'm doing. Intraday parabolics.
Martin, any other thoughts on this pre-market variables?
100% in a way.
The high of the day, time of the day.
So the entry would be.
Yeah, we could run that. We'll run this. And we'll run
Yeah,
that.
often the pullback is already.
I haven't done any strategies for taking
Is
this.
this
I wonder if it's. I don't know if it will adjust to pre-market. Do you guys see something wrong with this?
Can't mark it in I guess.
I'll figure this out after. Just because I don't do pre-market, I know you can do strategies that you could run on.
Yeah, in 5 minutes.
So I think there's a button or something. I'll figure it after. Okay. Anything else that you guys want to focus on in terms of the strategy? Is there any other? So we'll write down pre-market, previous. Anything else? So yeah, the other thing that I would say potentially it has gone up and it has opened up. There's a lot of
It's faded out in
gapped up pre-market volume. I think that's the variable that I used to. And I had these variables like before Flash Research. You mean not include them?
No, well, you could put them in like.
You could use market cap. Float's a very difficult variable because you have to have float every single day. Like if one of the owners sells the float yesterday, then the float. Or if somebody. Okay, cool. Any other brainstorm ideas you guys want to throw out there? Holy 60 million shares.
Because sometimes even if I'm not in the stock.
Experiment with pre-market volume for sure that you can build strategies, but you can experiment. You could put like short stock that has pre-market high, and you could just take a look at what your strategy would and what your risk.
And then the risk would.
And here's the other thing that the public doesn't know yet. So there is this preset thing. You can a strategy from scratch or saved, and when you click it, basically you have this stuff that's coming out. You can have confirm entry, early entry. So when the setup happens, it just shows up here, and I will give a beep alert that this is where your entry. This is where your entry is really
Oh,
cool.
it's like a scan.
It's like an algo. You can basically have an algo, and you are the hero. This is going to be a game changer. This is going to be really, really badass. So if you are trying to improve your focus and performance and not take non-setups, you can just whoever basically becomes an early adopter in Flash will do well off. Yeah, because You're getting a signal. You're getting like a hey, your entry has been met. Because you know how you're asking if somebody sees that hey, if 30% drops, let me know. We'll do that for you. This will do it. Yeah. And then you could also have midday alerts too for stop outs, and then you will know that if some setup has 80% accuracy, you'll find. Any other thing that you guys want to talk about? Any other like ideas that we can look through? Martin, you there?
Can you repeat the question?
Any other thought process in here before we move forward?
Not really. I mean,
Sounds good. Okay. So let's get back to our traditional, and all of this I personally love steps. Gap value 60% pre-market. These are how the gappers. Gappers overall, by the way, have been 3-4 months. July 20th. Wow. Right as I say that, 88% fade. Okay, so wow, that's the amount of faders. Let's look
it's
through.
one of the biggest opportunities.
So we're looking through this to see if we can find any. Barely any pushes. Kind of a sign that a good bearish sentiment, as they would say. So this week we had bearish sentiment. Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Yeah, so I guess it makes sense that a lot of traders made last week or so. Did you guys have a good week? Better than average week?
I'm not better than average. Yeah, I was actually market. I think a lot of the moves.
I know the answer. Where you?
He wasn't on voice this week.
Where did he go on vacation for?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Martin said he's going on vacation. Did he mention?
No, I asked him privately how he's doing because he did daily voice calls. He's just out of town. Say anything from vacation.
Okay, so this fade here pushes into VWAP. This is a setup as well. So you want to wait till the turn happens.
I wonder if there is a way to systematize all these and to find out which tickers have an opening print with, let's say, a 20%, have a high chance of being strong off the open. If there is a way based on the pre-market price action to determine that is the likelihood over the other.
That'd be very cool. Or the other alternative is only just accept that you're going to be long 0.5 hour. And on the backside, the higher it goes, the better it becomes.
You could always stop revisit it.
But often I find for wide stops, 32% is better. Another feature that Flash will down the road bring is optimization. To be like, hey, she's at 20% sell, 5%, 20%, sorted by base.
32% is a good stop of the open.
This was like back in 2 years ago, researching, because you have access to the backtest. Just put 20%. Look at the profit factor. Look at the P&L curve, and then put 22, 21, 20, 60, and then you can see which one you like. Because there's different metrics, right? One you want more P&L, one profit. Can't have everything. But from my experience, I think P&L curve. Okay, anything that sticks out, guys? I think we just had a good week. Anybody that a bit of an ego that I think they're okay. Do you guys see anything? Any variables?
It seems like a lot of
anything else. That makes a lot of sense.
Not how much gets stopped out. Probably. I mean, it depends on how far away you stop.
Honestly, bro, I mean, here you have 88% accuracy.
Yeah, we had a lot of tickers that made their highs near at 941, right? So the average or median. A stop of 20 would have worked. Would have probably cashed 3/4 of all the tickers that. And how much do you want to risk for that? I mean, it's not always like this week.
For me, Martin,
it's 20%.
It's a very high probability. I think it's a mistake. So if you enter here, Martin, risking 20% versus you enter here or often here. Like if I give you the average, and here sometimes you'll get stopped out from this. I always like to if I know my accuracy is going to be 70%, even I like to risk 1 hour or at least like a good chunk of the open because it will not get the soft fades 30-40%. So I would risk, given that my daily max loss is a 4 hour, I would risk a 1 hour, no questions asked. Given that it's not just, well, I guess even if it's open print, I would risk minimum 0.75 because why wouldn't you? And I mean, we have fundamentally disagree on this point.
Yeah, but it's not like every week.
But the thing is, so what's the expected? This is really bad because the past 4 months. But let's take a look at 2 years. Thing is 71%. The average day gap is 2 years of data. That's a good amount. Why wouldn't you? Why would you risk it? To have a small chunk here and a small.
The factor is also how far away is the further away, the smaller your position, the higher your win rate. Have a very wide stop, like some systematic traders do. They have 60%. Then you also have a decent win rate versus willing to get stopped out more often with, let's say, a 20%. But then I would maybe only risk, max 0.75 or my max ticker loss 2R. Then I want at least two more tries to have for the exit later. The high is coming at 10:30 or 11, which is also a very popular time for high of day time.
0.75 makes 0.75, so you get 3 tries. Yeah, that's a good one. And then once it works in your favor, you can always add that. So you enter here 0.75 and it goes below, back to your thing. Let's move forward. Anything else you guys noticed? Arsenal, do you notice anything? Any black magic stuff?
Other than gappers,
You guys do a good job on the voice for midday runners, right? There's so many midday runners. Do you guys do a good job in picking midday runners?
Yeah, I'm also
You
not
trade
that.
midday runners, Martin?
It's certainly something I want to get better. Sometimes I trade them. I miss many of them, and often when I see lately Lucas trading them a lot. He's similar like Anand. He's trading 10 tickers a day, and he's catching most of them, and or very often at least, and often he has really good entries as well. If you trade 10 tickers a day, then you are spreading out your risk a little bit, and it also accumulates. Your R accumulates. That's how you get to some impressive R numbers. They can also be tricky. Sometimes 2, 3, 4 legs higher after a big pullback.
Especially
You think
lately.
it's done, and then then it makes like a new high, clears out the previous high. And then it dumps again. So they all have a little bit, they're not always the same. They have also different patterns. But I think until into the close, right? This is something I don't have a number now, but just by feel, I would say 80% of their move, and that alone to develop a strategy around that.
So these are,
One way to potentially play them is to wait until they run a certain percentage amount open, and then just
what's that percent?
have an entry, and then 40 I think is a good 40%, and then have a wider stop. Maybe have 40% stop.
These are midday runners, correct?
Yeah, so
Yes.
I put this one as a maximum gap value of 25%, which makes it very tricky. So it has nothing with the midday gappers on this. Maybe your performance. This is the stuff that I do on my boredom days. I'm sure we can write a code to optimize for this stuff. We will have that quant side, inshallah, in our fund 3 months, 4 months. But yeah, so if I put the high gap, it gives you these. This is crazy. This is red, and I'm looking at also if it's 40% from the lows.
Yeah, but this is average
I'm
close.
trying to find this stuff. I look at the average. I look at the price action. You're right, but I'm looking at this to determine if there's a clear way. So this here, what I notice is at 1:30. This is another one of mine. Around 1 to 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
There's a failed breakout. That's when you get a really good order. So you can see
For
that.
all these runners who have a range of 40,
Yes, sir.
who open below 25. What is the average?
Difference in the 41%, I guess.
Okay. If you would systematize this, then 40% as in first entry with the wider stop,
Yeah.
and cover is at the close.
But then you look at the price action here too. So I would be like, okay, don't take it off the open. Maybe take it off the here. There's so many things you can play around with.
Yeah.
I checked. So this here. So if we don't have this, then the
So then
average.
you have all, and then you have everything. Do you also have the
Which
gap?
skews the data, but this says pushes off. Okay, so let's look through the gappers in here. We have seen these gappers. Thanks, CYCC. Actually shorted it in here, got stopped out, and we shorted it. Same in minimal intuition. So this is a long setup. Yeah. Anything you guys noticed? If you put maximum, so I put less than. What I changed is I put the maximum gap as 40%. So I try not to short anything that's minimum, even 40%. Usually, the highest gap could be 40%.
Anything under 40%.
Yeah, as a
you
gap.
don't like.
Yeah, to short as a gapper. But then this is a midday runner.
Yeah.
So if we have, which means the high to the low. It's crazy how this is very, but I guess sample sizes. The more I do this, the more I think if it's a midday runner, the more I do this, the more. Given that I suck at midday runners, would be the time that I would look to short, given that it's a failed breakout. And that gives a really good bada boom, bada bang. What happened? Arsenal, Martin, are you guys okay? Any takeaways from this?
I don't know. They're not as good lately. They were better before. Now I find it's just.
I've always, again, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I've always been bad at it, so I always avoided it. Always the guy that likes morning liquidity.
Yeah.
But okay, I assume there's nothing else that you want to add, Martin.
Yeah.
So let's move forward to the next variable, which we will go over best opportunities and potentially market sentiment, best opportunity in the past, and in the coming forward, what would be a really good opportunity for.
There was a number of really good ones this week. I think SONN, in terms of like float and overall dilution, price structure and everything, I think it was the best short when it kind of had that pre-market blow-off move. So I didn't realize. I don't know, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
I didn't realize like this thing was $5. I wasn't able to analyze it. The second I had that first entry at 22, I should have just left it on and just put a stop at 25 or a higher high candle near there, because I didn't realize how improbable it was for this move. Everything. So I mean, I think that's 600. So if I could go back, I just wouldn't have any of these. I kind of panicked a bit on this move. I didn't trade it properly. Go back and retrade that. I would realize how good that entry was, and then dare. So I'm just gonna try and focus on these gappers as opposed to the intraday parabolics, and maybe even get in on them a bit early, have beforehand, and scalp it
But the thing is, Bill,
I think that's the best
Arsenal, you're
opportunity.
talking about commentary. Like, what behavior are you gonna have? What rule are you gonna?
Oh, I see, like actionable steps. I guess not do this since they're working. Like what I did here with Dare, I can't do.
Right,
I can't
but
do that.
that's hindsight.
Okay.
And
So
what,
actionable steps.
what are you gonna put in place? Where
I
you're
guess
like,
set a stop and respect it because that.
don't take it off until you see a higher high.
Okay. Higher high.
Only then you can take. Only
Okay,
then
so
you can
these
take
are
off.
higher lows, higher lows.
There's two other variations, right? The other variation is a lower high or a higher low. Sorry, higher low or so you have to make these kind of like I can only take. And even for the pre-market high, you have to be more given that I have. So you put a 200, put a 5 on that.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And
Yeah.
I see a deep pullback. But try to
there we go.
just make things based on definitive things because it's so easy to look back and be like, oh, I wish I had done that. Why did we do that? Why should we do that? Or what rule can we implement? What's the main thing that you're focusing on?
Establishing consistency, and I think one thing I do really wrong. I've been trying to control my size, but I'll take a lot of like VWAP reclaim, VWAP breakdowns. They're almost like chase. I'm taking them with lower size just to kind of how to VWAP and stuff like that. But I think they're just like low volume trades, and there's no point of me. It's almost like I'm front testing, but there's no point. I can just back test these plays that are in front of us. These high probability. That's one thing I really want to focus. Kind of narrowing down my trades.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So go ahead. So you were saying past
Sorry,
best
Jane, coming up.
opportunity.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Past
So you-
best opportunity for this week. I think the best opportunity was SONN, but there were so many like also. But SONN in terms of just overall range by far.
What about next week
Worst
coming?
opportunity. Yeah, so next week I'm gonna pay attention to the pre-market, like I mentioned. When that criteria goes off, I'm gonna try and get in and some sort of trade-off. I've been trying to work on getting padding in the morning, so I have some sort even if it's like a quick scalp or some sort of quick trade, like cover on VWAP type thing. Just get my borrows early, and I think those little things for me help just based on like how I know how I react when I something crazy for a borrow, how I would play it. Other than that, I'll be aggressive on gappers, even opening, moving forward. That'll probably be my.
What if you see a few gappers? We go into like strong markets. Might change it.
Because that's something I really struggle with. Like I like struggle with getting in on a bunch of names. Yeah, that's something I do struggle with. So if I see a bunch of them, I'm gonna do my best.
This goes into market sentiment. Obviously, I think we all agree, all three of us. It was bearish this week, so I guess it's tough to say. Next week it could be. I don't know. Okay. Any specific names that you're gonna watch out for? You're gonna trade?
Short crypto treasury, I guess. Seems like that theme. If I see a crazy extension on crypto treasury, it's basically like free money at this point. So just keep an eye on that. Side question: did anybody get SBET?
That was gonna be my missed opportunity. Then
No.
inboxed me. This was my favorite setup.
One of the biggest misses last week on Friday.
Yeah,
Beautiful
same.
clear out and immediately went back to VWAP. And
Arsenal, have you been shorting liquidity events on BMNR? Because that's it's tricky, but it's get it off the liquidity.
I
event.
lost
That's
some money
really
on
nice.
it. I lost some money on it prior day, but I did get a good short.
On the 16th, on the 14th.
Yeah, and I finally got full size on it. I kind of was. I shouldn't have covered. This is exactly what I struggle with.
I see.
I kind of was drew like a downtrend. I saw it. I shouldn't have covered. 'Cause this
No,
would-
I mean,
nah.
that's what kind of helped you, so it's okay. I don't know if it's super bad. It's better than trying to have covered at 46 or something on the washes.
Yeah, I was long this day. Halted it down. Intraday parabolics when they do like it's like impossible. I hate stuff like.
So this is one of your weaknesses. You always love shorting above VWAP around 11. If it's below VWAP, you just
I
leave
gotta
it, cover early.
I'm trying to work on that.
So moving forward, you don't have a ticker in mind, or do you have it? You said crypto treasuries that you'll be shorting. Okay, the new runners or the old ones?
Looking for a daily. All of them. Whatever's related. The new ones are fading good. I think there was a really good one on
MEIP.
I realized off the PR. I think like I don't know why I longed it here.
Thank you, brother Ben. You want to go next? Market sentiment, best opportunity last week, best opportunity potentially.
Yeah, market sentiment is bearish to fatal day. I gave back on Thursday and Friday. I gave back it's by holding too long. But yeah, the biggest opportunities this week was there on Monday. Probably the nicest fader of the open the whole week. And SBET on Friday was big opportunity. For next week, I'm watching three stocks that could do a big reversal. Number one is QS. The other one is Open. These are all large cap, mid caps with a large float. And the third one is IXHL, which ran on Friday pretty big. And they probably have data coming out, biotech, to come out with data on Monday already. or probably next week. And yeah, depending on the data, I don't know, probably, I mean, if you look on the daily chart, the data is will probably match what it does on daily chart, you know. This could be a big sell the news once the data comes out, even though they will probably try to spin it positive in their headline, so it might do an initial push, maybe hold up into the open and then could do a big sell-off. The float is not that small. Could be a big opportunity. That's
Yeah, you can tell from the price act, it looked like it was going to
It might actually gap up on Monday in pre-market, which in itself might already be a short opportunity in pre-market. If it goes, it gaps up to 75 in early market, I might 5 to 80. I will, based on that alone, I will probably look for a short entry. At least, you know, news comes out too. So as long as there is no news, this could still fade quite a bit if it gaps up. If the news is not coming tomorrow, still gaps up 20%. Could be a good reversion play at least to Friday's close.
I gotta check out their data. I think there's some daily resistance.
Yeah, so that will probably ends up at 20. It's just a matter of timing.
Is QS Quantum? It is.
Not really. This battery, EV battery stock. Even though it has the name Quantum. It's a mid-cap. It's a real company, joint venture with Volkswagen. They are trying to develop some new battery technology.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I think I saw something. Okay, I know this.
But it's they have earnings on Wednesday, which of course might influence stocks, will have an impact on the stock price. I think there is a decent chance that this will pull before the earnings, maybe before the earnings. It's pretty extended on the daily chart. If it does not a gap tomorrow to 16, if it should hold this until the open, I think.
Anything else?
No, that's all.
Is there a specific reason why for one of them was the data? Like, is it back tested? Is it anything?
What?
For one of the tickers, it was the data that was coming out, and you would think
Was
the
that
reversal.
What's your question? Specific reason for what?
For the reversal that you're anticipating. One of them is data coming
Yeah,
out.
the overextension on the daily chart.
And Arsenal asked, IXHL was the data point?
Yeah, IXHL, they will report data probably next week.
What's up for QS? Is there a certain...
Not with biotech data.
For QS, is there something that would make it picture perfect for reversal? Would it be a gap up or inside like 1410, 14? What would be a picture perfect?
Picture perfect would be another 20% gap up. It's the next level here.
If it gaps down on Monday, let's say 14, what are you going to do there?
I would let it hope that it will set up nicely intraday, at least gap down and sell off. I don't think it will exit here on Friday. I thought it's more likely on a Friday because of option expiration, incredibly strong on Friday. So I think maybe this holds up 1 or 2 more days. Even like I said, Wednesday's earnings probably after hours. Need to check.
So sorry, Monday if it opens 14:20, what are you going to do? What are you 14:10? You're just going to let it go? When are you going to enter?
No, I keep it on watch and I see if it's a nice intraday setup. There are different scenarios what it can do off the open, but I will not touch it in pre-market. You know, only if it gaps up another 10% in pre-market, then I might already touch it in pre-market or off the open if it holds up. If the gap holds up pretty well, then it's really an A+ setup. You know, it will develop into an A+ setup. But if it gaps down to 14.20, then it's in the middle of the range from Friday. And it will probably take a while to digest the gap down and then see what direction the trend develops.
Another variable that I would be interested, I have no clear edge on this, but if the earning is on Wednesday, it might not work, but I think it would probably be better than a 50-50. So if the stock is super extended, and then you look at on earnings, how volatile it would be. So let's say off by earning, it's still at like $15. You could, in theory, sell vertical call spread. So let's say imply whatever, 6%, and then still have, so your risk reward would be, but what are the odds given all of this? I mean, I'm just bullshitting, just spitting out the odds if it could be baked in, because given all the move.
I like that idea, but do you have any strike prices you would choose? Let's say the stock $15 now, next Friday. Implied volatility is probably decent.
So
what would you...
I look at what the anticipated range earnings would be. There's a lot of earnings will move the stock. You can always go 2 standard deviations or just 1. Just from a lot of the stuff I do think about, honestly, are very basic. If stock has into that, like imagine you were buying and an earning happened, very likely you will take profit. It's much different than, so to answer your question, implied whatever the anticipated range is and just go. So if let's say if it's 10% implied volatility, $15 would be $1.50, whatever. Try to get 2 to 1 on the day of the earning. If it even opens at that price, the option will just crush. Or if they take profits or go sideways, more people buy in. Does that make sense?
Spread would you choose? You would sell, let's say, a 15 call and buy a 17 or 18 call?
Again, it goes down to the implied volatility. Let's say the implied volatility, if it's 10%. On earnings, it's going to have $15. So what that means is if it beats earnings or something, it will go $15 plus $1.50. $1.50 makes sense, right? Because 10%. Are we on the same page?
Yeah.
So then what
Yes.
I would do is I would sell 1650 call, because even if it beats the earning, it gets to that point, and that 1615, because the volatility is baked into that. So that 1650 call on the date of the earning, if it was $1 before, like when the stock is $15, 1650 call probably would, I'm guessing, but let's say it'd be $1 with $1. On the day of the earning, if it goes to 16 and it's expiring today, as soon as it moves a little bit, or even at that price, it'll be worth like 50 cents. Or if it washes a little, it will go from like $1 to like 30 cents. Does that make sense? And the equation for risk reward is, so
The strike price
so
is-
then that goes down to
for the hedge leg.
that goes
where you
based on
buy.
the equation, bro. The difference between the spread and how much premium you collect. So let's say you short the 1650 call, you collect $1, and in the other $17, let's say you collect if the spread difference is $1, let's say you go 1650 and 1750, and you collected 30 cents.
Yeah.
That means you're gonna gain 30 cents, but if you're wrong, you're gonna lose 70 cents. Does that make sense? So you just have to play around with the ratio where you're comfortable. I think 2 to 1 would be,
Yeah.
if you can make like 33 cents and then lose 66 cents. In a perfect world, if you can find a 50, that would be really cool. The odds of it being 50% chance that it will go to 1650, implied volatility price action, that it ran for go to 16 and stay there, it's a little lower. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, just checking. For example, on Friday, the 16 calls closed at $1 for next week. And the 17 closed at 80 cents. We have 20 cents. But there was not that much volume yet last week. We traded last. So we will probably get more volume. Maybe that's a good idea to reversal on this limited risk.
Yeah, but make sure you incorporate implied volatility. Don't just do it based. Okay.
If you guys made it this far, that means you liked it, you enjoyed it. I hope this was useful, beneficial. Feel free to write in the comments what you want. And also, if you are a trader that has made 7 figures in one point in your career, 7 figures profit, and you want to see if we're a good fit, shoot me a DM and Do Good Capital Twitter handle. If somebody approaches you, just don't get scammed. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. I hope this is useful. Share it with somebody you think that would benefit from it. And thank you very much.